Hi everyone, I'm Dan Abrams, and this is Court Cam.
Call the buzzer, call.
Take him back! Take him out!
I hope you die in prison as well.
First, we head to Gulfport, Mississippi. This is the Harrison County Courthouse. This is a 1997 Toyota Tacoma. And this is 28-year-old Keith Rio Cavalier. At 5:43 a.m., Cavalier illegally parked his red pickup right through one of the windows of the courthouse. At first, Cavalier seems to be stuck inside the truck. But then, here he comes through the window. Fortunately, both he and his flip-flops appear to be okay. After taking a few moments to survey the scene, Cavalier stands there, cavalierly, and eventually walks away. Thankfully, because it was so early on a Saturday morning, the building was closed and no one was hurt. Police arrested Cavalier shortly after the incident. When asked why he did it, well, he had a perfectly good reason. He said he was trying to contact the police about his stolen drug paraphernalia. And apparently he felt this was the best way to do it. It is unclear whether Cavalier got his drug paraphernalia back, but he did pick up charges of malicious mischief and driving under influence. Now to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where Judge John Hurley is conducting remote bond hearings with inmates held at the Broward County Jail. 25-year-old Brian Noval believes he's only been charged with battery, but the record reads differently.
You were charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, domestic violence battery. You're going to be held no bond, sir, until further order of the court. Thank you.
The realization that he's going back to jail starts to sink in for Noval.
Kidding me? Yeah, no, I'm not kidding you. That's the truth. You're not going anywhere. That's the truth. All right, thanks. All right, Suzanne Walt.
was battery.
Oh, wow, I know, man. But that's the way life is. What did he say? Whoa. Hey, bring that guy back. So what did you just say when you...
Charges I had yesterday.
Okay, hold on a second, sir.
Battery charge.
Sir, this court is inclined to hold you in contempt of court, and I want to know from you, give me a reason why I should not hold you in contempt of court.
I don't see a reason why you shouldn't be, because there's not a reason this should be here.
Okay, sir, I find you in contempt of court for using that type of language with the court you just used, and I'm going to ask you if you have anything to say before I pass sentence.
I apologize, I was out of line. I'm just upset because this is not what I was charged with yesterday.
Okay,
I was
sir.
charged with the battery.
I accept your apology, and I will sentence you to 60 days in the Broward County Jail. Thank you.
After getting hit with 2 months in jail, it appears the foul-mouthed defendant may have finally learned his lesson. Or
Can I take the back in?
maybe not.
All right, sir, hold it. Come on back. Come on back, sir. Sir, I'm inclined to hold you in contempt of court again. And I'm going to sentence you to another 60 days to run consecutive to the prior 60 days. So now you're up to 120 days in the Broward County Jail. Do you have anything else you'd like to say?
Nah.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. You're done.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Yes, he can, and yes, he did.
All right, thank you.
He was actually released 4 days later by the judge. Next, we go to a pretrial hearing in Louisville, Kentucky. The defendants are Mario and Jose Guzman, who are out on bond in connection with drug charges. Sitting behind the defense table is Mario's wife, Samantha Ayala. Today, the Commonwealth is asking to increase Mario's bond because of new charges, including second-degree burglary, tampering with evidence, and possession of marijuana. According to the prosecution, these offenses are a violation of his bond agreement. Hearing the motion is Judge Mary Shaw.
Your Honor, in your order, it specifically says no further violations of the law. He picked up new charges. He violated the law.
But the defense is arguing the bond should not be raised because the burglary charge is thin since the victim skipped town.
They don't have the victim because he left town because he's a drug dealer.
The Commonwealth is asking to raise Guzman's bond from $500 to $15,000, which the defense argues is too high.
I mean, we might as well say $100,000 full cash, Judge. It's an amount that Mr. Guzman can't post. That's not the purpose of bond. The purpose of bond is to make sure that someone comes to court.
After several minutes disputing prior testimony, the judge is ready to announce her decision.
I agree. New charges obviously have been picked up. Current bond is not appropriate. It will be $5,000 full cash.
If Guzman can't come up with a new amount, he'll be sent to jail as he awaits trial. A bailiff is ready to take Guzman away, but he has other ideas. Let's take another look. Guzman makes a desperate break for the door. Jose Guzman begs the judge for help. After the deputy deploys his taser, Guzman's wife, Samantha, becomes inconsolable. Court officers wrestle Mario to the ground as Jose shouts instructions. Samantha is so distraught, officers place her in handcuffs. Deputies finally remove Guzman from the courtroom. A few of the officers suffer minor injuries, and Guzman is hit with additional charges. 3 counts of attempted assault and criminal mischief. And his bond is increased another $2,500 for a total of $7,500. Now to the Seminole County Circuit Court in Sanford, Florida. It's 6:30 p.m., and a long one-day trial has come to an end.
The jury find the defendant guilty of driving under the influence.
That defendant is 46-year-old Lisette Gonzalez. Although a verdict for Gonzalez's DUI charge has already been reached, her attorney makes a final plea to Judge Fred Schott.
Your Honor, not enough evidence presented for the jury to find the verdict that they did. They didn't do all the field sobriety examinations that should have been done.
During the trial, it was revealed that Gonzalez was never given a breathalyzer or had her blood drawn. Yet, arresting officer Michael Wagner recorded that she tested above the legal limit of .08 in his official report. Wagner claimed it was an honest mistake, but observed what he believed to be intoxication.
I respectfully ask that this court grant the judgment notwithstanding the verdict.
The attorney is asking the judge to use his power to overturn the jury's verdict and acquit the defendant. It's a move rarely seen in the courtroom.
Right. This isn't a purely circumstantial case. And so I'm going to deny the motion for JOA.
It looks like the case is closed, but Judge Schott has other business with Gonzalez.
Now, we have this other case for driving while license suspended.
2 months after her DUI arrest, Gonzalez was ticketed for driving with a suspended license. Problem is, the only reason her license was suspended was because of the inaccurate paperwork filed by Officer Wagner.
I want to be enlightened.
It was a mistake, admittedly, by Michael Wagner.
I know.
Testified to that today.
He caused her to have her driver's license suspended for at least a few months for nothing. So are you going to null process that case?
Your Honor, but at this
Why
point,
won't you wait a minute? Did you hear the uncontroverted testimony of this officer?
Your Honor.
Then I want you taking him up on perjury.
Your Honor.
Will you take him up for perjury?
He admitted it was a mistake, Your Honor.
No, but he lied. He lied on a sworn
Absolutely
citation.
not, Your Honor, and that is not true.
I'm dismissing. I'm dismissing. I am dismissing this charge. No, I'm dismissing the charge.
The judge has just dismissed the defendant's upcoming case, but he's not done yet.
This whole case was fishy, and I have no idea how they... You know what?
Address on file.
You know what?
State intends to amend
I'm
the
granting.
charge and proceed on
I'm rescinding the sentence. I'm granting the JOA.
Judge Schott has just reversed his decision and acquitted the defendant on the spot.
So you're granting it because you don't agree with the state's decision on
I'm
the
granting
other
the
charge?
JOA in fairness.
In fairness, because you don't like the state's decision today, Your Honor, on the case?
No, you're not. Now that I consider what Officer Wagner testified to and how many times he basically tripped over himself just to arrest this lady, with no real probable cause.
You're done. Motion, the JOA is granted.
And you're not going to provide a written on that?
Nope. You want to appeal me? No.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Case should have never been done. Never.
Thank you for letting us know that, Your Honor.
The defendant, Lisette Gonzalez, walks out of the courtroom, free of all charges. Our next story takes us to Clark County District Court in Las Vegas for a kidnapping trial.
The defendant is here. He's in custody.
There's just one problem. The defendant's lawyer is nowhere found.
Can you check and see if he's going to join us?
After a 90-minute delay, defense lawyer Joseph Caramango finally arrives in the courtroom.
Judge, I was heading east on Sahara Drive, and I was rear-ended, and my car was undrivable. The person who hit me took off, and
Hit and run.
it was a hit and run, and here I am.
I'm going to tell you, be honest with you, you don't look right this morning. That's why I'm concerned.
Judge, my neck and my back is killing me, but I'm ready to go forward.
You don't think you need medical attention?
I think I do, Your Honor. I may have suffered a concussion, Your Honor.
Because you hit your head?
Because of the whiplash, Your Honor. I've had multiple concussions before.
You've had multiple concussions.
Yes, Your Honor. But I feel like I can go forward.
You know what? Can I just see everybody back in chambers?
Behind closed doors, Caramango meets with the judge and is assessed by a courthouse nurse.
And the record reflects that Mr. Caramango is back in the courtroom. He has been tripped out by the nurse. Now, you left that part out with us.
Yeah, I did, Your Honor.
So you also hit a car? So it was a double hit and run.
I guess.
The judge is becoming increasingly suspicious of Caramango's story, and the prosecuting attorney isn't doing him any favors.
My observations were observing him that there was clearly something wrong with him. I noticed he was slurring his speech. I noticed he was unsteady on his feet. And when actually Mr. Caramango came back into the courtroom, he seemed very unsteady on his feet as he walked by and actually ran into our counsel table.
Things only get worse for the defense lawyer when the judge orders him to take a blood alcohol test.
I think you have a concussion. I think you're dazed and confused and can't tell a straight story because you're too intoxicated.
I admit that I did have drinks last night, and I lost my grandmother about 2 weeks ago. I've been under a lot of pressure, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm aware of that.
So if you came to court intoxicated, you have a problem. Do you understand me?
Your Honor, I can represent as an officer of the court. I am not intoxicated.
Okay. So just go ahead and blow. Let's get it over with. You want to show me? Okay.
I am stone sober.
Mr. Caramango, if I was you, I would just be quiet at this. Okay, for the record, your blood alcohol is at .075.
Even though his blood alcohol content is slightly below Nevada's .08 legal limit for driving, the judge has had enough.
I have no desire to ruin your reputation or anything. We'll deal with it. I'll give you an opportunity to get it together. But at this point, I cannot absolutely allow an attorney to proceed.
The judge declares a mistrial, and Joseph Caramango's law license is put on disability inactive status. He's prohibited from practicing law in the state of Nevada and has not petitioned the state Supreme Court for reinstatement. We now head to Kalamazoo, Michigan, for the sentencing hearing of 53-year-old Bruce Embry, convicted of murder. Aquila Hegler is about to present her impact statement to the court. The man she faces down in the orange jumpsuit is her own husband.
I hate you.
7 months earlier, Embry shot and killed his 17-year-old step-grandson, Demetrion Hegler, in the family home. His grandmother, Aquila, who brought him up since he was a child and thought of him as a son, watched helplessly. Embry shot Demetrion after he told his grandmother that he overheard Embry talking to another woman on the phone.
You know how hard it was for me to stand there and you shoot my son in the head and he's all dead in front of me. You killed a part of me, Leon. He never was a threat to you. You took my child life for nothing. For nothing. I hate you. I can't forgive you. Don't want to talk to you. I can't talk
Despite her heartbreaking statement, Embry shows absolutely no emotion. The victim's uncle, Willie Warren, addresses him next.
He ain't never did nothing to you, Bruce. Never. He never disrespected you. He never cursed you. He never did nothing to you.
As court officers subdue the distraught Warren, tensions flare and a scuffle between family members breaks out in the rear of the courtroom. When order is finally restored, his uncle can be heard sobbing on the floor. Embry was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Joining me now is Aquila Hegler. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. You know, watching that, your husband seemed to show almost no emotion at all. Were you surprised by that?
I don't know what happened that day, what drove him to do that, and I probably never will know. But honestly speaking, I truly believe that he does have some remorse, but he wasn't able to say he was sorry to us.
Your husband's family and supporters were in court that day as well. Was that difficult?
It was okay with me because I didn't have no type of animosity towards them until his mom never gave me her condolence. Never. So on the last day of court, that's when I had a problem. His aunt came here on the last day that they were sentencing that man, and she opened up her mouth. And that's where all that anger just came back up again. There ain't no more. Because not in a million years, I never would have thought he would have did us like that. And to take my child life for no reason. I couldn't grasp with that.
It just must have been so difficult for you. And I know your son Willie was overcome with emotion that day as well.
Well, he didn't see no remorse in the man, so he went after him. Well, during the time, the deputies had my son over there on the floor. I'm looking, trying to see that they don't hurt him, but instead they was just letting him get his emotion out.
Tell us a little bit about Demetrion.
Demetrion, he was the type of child anybody would like him. He always was trying to help somebody. He liked it being around disabled kids. And I never knew that the impact that he made on people's lives until the visual that was held for him and at his funeral. I never knew that.
Aquila Hegler, I know how difficult this has been for you to relive, but thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. That's all for this edition of Court Cam. I'm Dan Abrams. Thanks for watching.